You're watching KLTX, Channel 15, serving the city of Lufkin.
Today on Screen It or Stream It.
Total randomness.
What?
Yes.
Huh?
Exactly. I haven't made it to the theater much, but I have been watching a lot of stuff on Netflix and other streaming places, but before we get into that, do you want to watch a couple of trailers?
Yeah, let's do a few of them.
So the one movie I did get to go see, we'll review that in a minute, had a bunch of trailers on it that some I liked, some I didn't, but all were noteworthy in one way or another, so we're going to watch a couple of those, starting with this one.
My life hasn't been what you probably think it has. We all have our struggles.
Have you ever been in love?
A long, long time ago. You?
So many times, yeah. All the time.
I like the music.
Yes. I like the decade.
Welcome to the future. Life is good, but it can be better. And why shouldn't it be? All you need is to want it. Think about finally having everything you always wanted.
I can save today, but you can save the world.
Steve.
Diana.
Now, I take what I want in return.
Everyone will see. The world needs you.
You know what you need to do.
Nothing good is born from lies. And greatness is not what you think.
It's all art.
That's just a trash can.
It's just a trash can. Yeah.
I totally get that.
I forgot the buzzers. So I give that one a thumbs down though.
Really?
I like the trailer. Like, it's fun, but there's one thing I absolutely hate about that, and it has made me mad.
Okay, do tell.
Okay, first, the effects look great. Riding lightning, oh my gosh, that's awesome. The music is fantastic. Why is Chris Pine in this movie?
Because he was in the first one.
Yeah, where he died. Spoiler alert, he died.
But it's a sequel.
He died.
That doesn't matter. He was in the first one. He's got to be in the second one.
Okay, so here's your checklist of things to not do. Make character deaths irrelevant. Don't do that. Marvel, looking at you.
Marvel always says that.
Now, DC, I know you need to take plays from Marvel's playbook, but not that one. That is like the one thing you don't do. But anyway, sorry, I digress. Other than that, it looks like a lot of fun, and I'll probably watch it, but I'm not excited because of that.
I liked it. I did have two problems with it, and literally one of them was when Chris Pine is back. And look, I loved his character though, so I'm like okay with him being back just because I want to see him. But at the same time, like you said, it's kind of like,
Yeah, it's
Then that makes the original death meaningless.
exactly.
The only other thing was it does look a little. I mean, I know it's a comic book movie, but it looks really comic booky. Like a lot of the stuff was really over the top and exaggerated, which could be a lot of fun, and it might be a lot of fun. You just got to see, but that makes me a little wary. But like I said, like the music, like the I like the actors. I really liked the first Wonder Woman. It was one of the best like DC films, and so I'm excited for it. I will definitely give it a shot.
And as trailers go, it's very well put together. I didn't feel like it was giving away like a ton of crazy stuff, although maybe Chris Pine's a huge like moment Yeah, looking at you, Kingsman 2 trailer. Terrible, terrible thing you did there.
Like there's going to be this suspenseful, will he come back?
Right. Like, well, no, you kind of know now. Anyway.
The trash can thing, like, gets me to my very soul. Aaron.
I have mixed feelings about that. Because it's funny, but at the same time...
It's okay, we can talk in a safe place later.
It's so true. Sometimes. Yeah. Light up the comment section with how you feel about our feelings on that. Okay, and then...
We all believe we'd run into the burning building. But until we feel that heat, we can never know. You do. You chose to die instead of giving up your colleagues. That test you passed? Not everybody does. Welcome to the afterlife.
To do what I do, I need some idea of the threat we face.
As I understand it, we're trying to prevent World War III.
Nuclear holocaust.
No. Something worse.
All I have for you is a word. TENET. It'll open the right doors, some of the wrong ones too.
You have to start looking at the world in a new way.
Don't try to understand it. Feel it.
What'll happen here?
Hasn't happened yet.
I am torn.
So I'm huge thumbs up on this one. And so the Verse trailer, I thought, meh, I don't even know what that is. It doesn't look interesting. And normally I am not a huge fan of weird, like, timey-wimey stuff.
See, I am, and that was one of my positives, is I like the timey-wimey.
But I liked that in this one. Like, the way it's being presented, it's kind of, it looks like a different take on it. But that trailer gave me actually some intrigue to be excited for, so I want to see it. I mean, I don't know that I hope it's going to be the best thing ever, but I'm excited to see it and find out.
Well, when it started, it looked very generic action movie to me.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the time stuff started, then I was like, oh, okay. But the Christopher Nolan thing is also like, because I feel like everything Christopher Nolan does, I feel like he has really lofty ideals, really lofty goals. And when they're executed perfectly, they make some of the most amazing cinema ever. Mm-hmm. And when they kind of miss slightly, it makes just...
Dunkirk.
Which pretty much the entire world disagreed with us on that. But yeah. But you could definitely see in Dunkirk, you know, those lofty, like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do it in a different way. And sometimes that works great and sometimes it doesn't. So,
yeah.
But again, that's probably, I mean, heck, let's go watch it and we'll try it. But
yeah, I mean, I like Christopher Nolan. I guess to me, he's done enough good stuff that I'll always give him a try. But Dunkirk is in my memory, and a lot of people loved it. I didn't. So I just have to remember that, you know, sometimes he's telling a story I don't really care. And I love the story of Dunkirk, but I just didn't like the way he told it.
Well, then there's the name. I kept expecting David Tennant to show up at any moment. I was a little disappointed when it didn't.
And it's timey-wimey. You'd expect he would be
where's
there.
Come Dr.
on.
Who at?
No nod to this? Come on. All right, so what do you got, movies? What have you been watching lately?
So I thought we would start off on a negative note.
Very exciting.
Actually, I saw... I Killed Giants, and I believe it was on Hulu.
Yeah, I remember we'd done a trailer reaction.
Well, and this was one that I was actually kind of excited for.
Yeah.
And we did the trailer reaction, and then I saw literally nothing. There were, people were not talking about this. It did not come to our theater, so we couldn't see it. And I was like, I wonder what the deal is. And I was really hoping it was just like this indie darling of a movie that just didn't take off, or just, because it's a smaller movie, it just doesn't get the publicity.
Right.
And I am certain there are people that love this and will defend it wholeheartedly. But I did not. And there was a couple of major problems I had with it. And it might just be me being stupid and overly, judgmental. But the basic premise of the movie is this. There's a little girl, she's junior high age, somewhere around 12-ish. And she doesn't have parents anymore, and she's living with her sister. And so there's all the stuff that she's like basically downtrodden.
Right.
And she's really weird. And she wears these like rabbit ears. And
these are all selling points. Okay.
And no, I agree with you. And that's why I wanted to see the movie. And she, in her free time, fights giants, like literal giants. And so when the movie starts progressing, like, you don't know whether she's crazy and like this is some kind of emotional like compensation that these giants don't really exist and it's just her fantasy world that she lives in, or if she really does fight
literal
giants. If it's like, is this a fantasy movie or is this like a drama with emotional ties? And one of the big problems I have with it is I still don't know if this was a fantasy movie or, because it shows the giants. It shows the giants doing it. All right, is this in her imagination? But then everything she says and everything she does about the giants seems to come true, and it seems to come to fruition. And we keep seeing them even after like what should have been her emotional problems like resolved. They're still there, and so like, and I'm sure someone's going to say, "Oh, well, you just missed the point," and it was very obvious. But to me, it was not. And so I never did figure out, okay, is she crazy or is she imaginative, or is she really a giant slayer and no one else understands her?
Right.
The other big problem I had with this is she should be a sympathetic character, even though she's so like her character is basically a bad person, but she's a bad person because of the circumstances that she's in, and she is a kid. Like, you wouldn't expect her to be able to compensate and fight for when you're 12 and life is just beating you down. You expect her to be.
So do you mean like her home life, or because she has to do crazy things to kill the giants?
Well, there's a bully in school that picks on her. She's got to kill giants. She doesn't have parents. She's living, her sister's trying to take care of her. But my problem with that was that, like, she doesn't have friends. Almost immediately after the movie starts, she meets a girl that is like, "Hi, I want to be your friend. I don't have any friends either. Let's be friends." And through the entire movie, the other girl does everything she can to be nice to her and be her friend, and she does nothing but push her away. There is a new school counselor that does literally nothing except try to help her and try to be her friend, and she overlooks horrible things the girl does to her. She punches her and like,
oh my gosh,
she like physically assaults her, and she overlooks it and doesn't get her in trouble because she just wants to help her, and she just pushes her away. The sister is basically raising 3 kids on her own, and she's doing everything she can, and then she's having to work to pay the bills and cook and do everything, and she's pushing her away. And there's all this support and all these people that are trying to help her, and she's just like, nope, screw y'all. And to me, that made it very hard to be sympathetic to her, because at some point you're like, okay, look, I understand you've got it bad, but at the same time, you do have all these people that are working to try to help you, and she just won't accept it at all. And she doesn't, there's not really a character arc for her. She starts here, and like some stuff gets resolved at the end, but the character arc is not like, an arc. It's more like a character flat with a spike, and then it goes right back to flat, and it's like, and
so she's not changed by her adventures, really.
I don't think so. And the bad part is she is the character. The story is her.
Yeah.
And without her arc to follow,
which maybe that's what they were trying to say, is that you can't, we're kind of the way we are, and we don't.
Well, and again, like I said, there are going to be people that I'm sure will watch this and be like, oh yeah, this is great. You're crazy. But for me, I'm watching this downtrodden person, and I think a lot of us at some point feel like, the weight of the world is just mashing down on you. And we don't have anybody, and to watch her have all these people and her just go, nope. And again, she's a kid, so I'm sure somebody's going to be, well, she's a kid. But
yeah,
it does, it does hurt the sympathy factor. And
just hearing that hurts because I've known too many people that are actually like that. You try to help them and they just won't have it.
Well, I mean, like, my dad watches reality TV and loves it, and, like, I don't want to watch reality TV. Like, that might be the way it really is, but that's not what I want to see.
There's no truth in reality TV.
Well, I know. So,
anyway, yeah.
So, I mean, people might really like it. It's on Hulu, I believe, so you can watch it for free if you have Hulu. Okay, you can watch it for the price of Hulu, but if you already have Hulu, it doesn't cost anything extra. So you can check it out if you want. But I also had really high expectations for this because I thought it was going to be super cool.
And that affects your experience too.
So that was kind of a meh for me.
So I guess the real question I have is, if you had known one way or the other, is she actually fighting giants or is she actually crazy? Would that have just made it or broken it for you?
I think
you just want to know?
I think it would have helped greatly.
Okay.
Because if she legit was fighting giants, then her personality makes sense. Because she has to distance herself from people because those people would be in danger.
Sure.
Because this is her job. She has to go out and do this. If she wasn't fighting the giants, then okay, she has some serious
a problem.
mental disorder, and it's not just emotionally, she's beaten down. It's, hey, she has some serious mental condition, and that would explain why she does the things she does.
Yeah.
But I don't know either way, so I can't pick a side and go with it.
Well, I still want to see it someday. Hopefully I will, and maybe I'll come back and give my report on it if I ever do. Do you have anything else on I Kill Giants? Well, over the Christmas break, I actually got out to see Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, and it was quite a strange experience because I have loved Star Wars ever since I was little bitty because, face it, I was born after the first two had come out. 1983 is when the third one came out. That's when I was born. So I grew up with those first three and have loved them forever because I'm a huge sci-fi and fantasy geek, and so that's the best thing ever. It's the two. The prequel trilogies I liked when they came out, and then started asking questions and realized, there's a lot of problems with these. Man, they're not near as good as those first three. And then The Force Awakens came out, loved it initially, and then started again asking questions and realized, wait a minute, I still like it better than those other three, but ugh. And then The Last Jedi I hated, but then grew to like it the more I watched it. That one was weird. There's still a bunch of stuff I don't like about it. In fact, that whole subplot of going to find that guy, the Codebreaker guy, was just... Anyway, in hindsight, that one feels very much like an episode where they had about 45 minutes to an hour worth of story and stretched it out. That's kind of what it feels like to me in hindsight. The Rise of Skywalker, I really enjoyed, and I was not excited for it. I went into the theater, I'm going to see a Star Wars movie. I should be excited. This should be my thing. And I'm thinking, let's just get this done. And then I realized that's how I felt. Oh my gosh, what have they done to me? Disney, thank you.
Well, on the same lines, I haven't seen it. And again, me too. The first three were before my time, but I watched them on home video over and over and over again. This is the first Star Wars movie since Episode 1 that I did not
just rush out to
the theater to see, and I have no interest in seeing it. It's fool me once, then fool me twice and 3 times and 4 times and 5 times and 6 times, and I'm okay. You know what? Well, forget you, Star Wars, and I'm just no. I'll watch it for free on streaming or something when it comes out, or Disney Plus probably, since it will never come out anywhere else now.
Well, my feelings, the more I thought of it, I can sum up in one phrase: The Rise of Skywalker is the episode that saved that trilogy. That's how I feel about it, because. Okay, there was a bunch of stuff from the trailers that made me even less excited. You hear Emperor Palpatine laughing, and I'm just nope, I'm out. I don't even want that. But as much as I hated that, they made it work. And the way they used it worked very well in the story. And it wasn't a stupid thing. It actually worked. So, okay. But it's the ongoing story of Rey, and now she's been trained by Princess Leia to be a Jedi, and so she's actually.
Why did she have to be? She's better than Princess Leia. Why is she trained by Leia? She is better than any person that ever lived in the history of all Star Wars.
Well, so they explained in this one that Leia had been trained to be a Jedi by Luke.
But she's better than Luke. All she had to do was touch the lightsaber and immediately was the best Jedi to ever live.
Which they offer at least a half-hearted explanation of that, which I don't really want to get into because spoilers. But I will say they answer the question of her parentage finally. And it was not Luke and Leia like people were speculating. That's ridiculous. It's kind of a joke. Why not? But anyway, no, that'd be ridiculous. But the story just worked. It was fun, and it's of course her ongoing battle of good and evil and all that. And of course Kylo Ren is now in charge of the First Order, so he's just trying to take over everything. And it's what a Star Wars movie should be. It's fun. It had a decent story, and they did not have another main reactor to blow up. I was so happy about that. I cannot even tell you how happy I was about that.
So when did the 17th Death Star show up?
No Death Star in this one.
Oh my god.
They did have planet-killing stuff, but it wasn't Death Stars. So it worked. It was okay.
Was it a Death Sphere or a Death Moon?
No. And instead they were having just big fleets of, like...
Star Destroyers.
So they blow stuff up that way, which that's much better because you don't have one big weakness. You've got a whole fleet to take out. So it's a much better strategy on the villain's part. Though I do have to say, they have got to quit relying on one piece of tech that somehow helps or coordinates their efforts, or like, the good guys are going to knock it out. Just, come on, don't do that.
I think one of the big problems with Star Wars, besides the many, 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 many problems it has,
sure,
is what you just said, is the fact that like the rebels can only be downtrodden for so long. It's like, you win! Next episode, but it's still bad.
Yeah.
We win again! Oh, next episode is still bad. And it's like, okay, how many... And the bad guys get defeated and then they're right back to being the most powerful thing. And it's like, well, why? I don't care anymore. Like, I'm out. I like Adam Driver. Like, I like him as a person. I like the stuff he's been in. And watching him as Kylo Ren almost... like makes me not want to like him anymore. The Last Jedi with what they did with Luke makes me not want to watch Star Wars anymore. It made Mark Hamill not want to be part of Star Wars anymore. That they didn't had to retract and be like, no, I didn't really say that. He
did come back again as ghost form,
and
offering his sage wisdom,
which I don't have a problem with him dying. Like, eventually he's gonna have to, but it was just the way it was the stuff before he died,
right, that he was so bitter. And
I really think Solo was the nail in the coffin. Like, that should have been the most amazing thing.
Very mixed feelings I have about that one. Mostly not good.
Well, it was mediocre at best,
and then Darth Maul showed up and I hated it.
Well, but that's the thing, though, that there's no way you should be making a Han Solo origin story and it be mediocre. It could have been terrible, it could have been great, but just, it's like,
So go watch Firefly, and that should have been the Han Solo origin story. Just saying.
Yeah, that would have been amazing. Where's Captain Mal when you need him?
Right? Now, I do have to say, of course, it was very sad to everybody that Carrie Fisher died after The Last Jedi, or right before it came out, or whenever that was. But she actually does make an appearance in The Rise of Skywalker, which they didn't make a CGI of her, which I'm very glad about. They had quite a few cut scenes from the first two movies, lines and stuff that she never got to deliver because they cut them out. So they were able to repurpose all of those. And I suspected that's what they did watching it, but, I'm a movie guy. I would notice these things. And then they were able to write the script around it to make it work. And I thought it worked really well. And it was just exciting to be able to see her again and know it was really her. And
well, that's kind of a weird choice, seeing as how they've CGI'd her and
and everybody else. But no, they actually just used her scenes that they had cut from the first two movies and were able to include her character then in a meaningful way, which was really surprising.
So when did Baby Yoda show up?
There's no Baby Yoda.
All right, I'm out.
Sorry.
There's no Baby Yoda.
No Baby Yoda. I don't think there were any bounty hunters. Well, no, kinda, because so Kylo Ren's knights finally show up.
The Knights of Ren.
You've been teasing these guys forever, and they finally showed up and did something. I would like to see more of them, actually.
Well,
they were kind of cool.
Star Wars needs it needs a fact checker. They need a a nerd in the corner with a like tablet going, because one of the things when the
That's not how the Force works.
Yeah.
You need that guy.
when Kylo Ren first showed up, like and he stopped
was
the
cool.
blaster.
Yes.
I was in at that point. I'm like, all right, this is going to be amazing.
Yep.
And then it's like the power levels just go. I can move mountains. I can't cut the sandwich. Hold on a second. And it's like, well, I don't like, but
You're like One Punch Man and the sandwich explodes when he tries to cut it. Like, dang it, not again.
Well, we said this before, but they made Kylo Ren so powerful. And then Rey shows up with no training and is better than Kylo Ren. And then people try to, oh, well, he was injured, or oh, well, she. But
he was injured. He'd been shot.
But at the same time, it's like it doesn't make sense. And
she was a stick fighter. That's like lightsaber fighting. It's like the same.
But there's a.
But no, you're right. She was way over force powered. She should have lost an arm in that first time. And there shouldn't have been a resistance in the first movie. They should have just got their butts kicked by that giant super weapon. Resistance shows up in the second movie and has to blow up the super weapon. That should have been how that arc went. And then the third movie still would have worked. That would have been great. But no, that's okay.
Well, and then they keep switching directors, and like each one of them has a slightly different vision, and then you get kind of a different feel. And then like you were talking about this being the trilogy, but then like the overall arc seems to like jump around.
Well, that is all our time. I think J.J. Abrams knows how to tell a Star Wars movie, but thanks for watching Screen It or Stream It.
And remember, don't take your kids to the movies on Tuesday nights, because that's when we go.